All right. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's episode of Cooking Connected. Just give us one moment. We're going to get our cameras booted up and we'll be right with you. All right. So, everyone, I just want to welcome you again to Cooking Connected. This is going to be our second episode, actually, of Cooking Connected. As you may know, last week we did the pasta with roasted vegetable recipe, which went wonderfully well. And so we're really excited to share that recipe with you all. And we just want to give a major shout out to Lisa. We asked you guys to comment below about a recipe that you wanted to see this week. And Lisa commented and said she wanted to see those turkey tacos. So we are here to deliver. So we just want to give a shout out to her. And again, at the end of this video, comment again below with the recipe you want to see next week. And we take those things into consideration. And we love to hear from our viewers. So just a reminder, a normal Cooking Matters class is a 6-week nutrition-based cooking class. And usually we meet for one day out of the week for 2 hours. A class features a culinary instructor and a nutrition educator, and they work together to pull together a wonderful class. We do a cooking demonstration and learn a lot of nutrition with it. And again, as always, our goal for this video today is to connect with the community, cook a really delicious and healthy meal, practice the recipe together, and share nutrition tips about eating healthy and eating healthy on a budget. So before I get extra started with the actual recipe, I wanted to really quickly promote our survey again. We asked you guys last week to fill out our survey and it was really helpful. And again, we're going to ask you to fill out the Cooking Matters survey. This helps us continue the work that we're doing right now, virtually and live in these kind of classes. So I have a new program code for this episode. Don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. So the program code for this episode of Cooking Connected with the turkey tacos is going to be E0961717. And again, I will be posting this information down below in the comment section as the video goes on. So afterwards, if you have any constructive criticism, feedback, tips, and anything you want to share with us, feel free to fill out our survey, and we really appreciate that. That helps us out a lot as we move forward with this kind of work. So let me introduce our chef, the beloved Chef Jordan.
Thank you. So my name is Jordan. I'm also one of the program coordinators for Cooking Matters. Today we are going to be making turkey tacos, as Sajwa mentioned. This is another Cooking Matters classic. I really love this recipe just because I really love tacos in general. What do you think about this recipe, Sajwa?
Oh man, this is one of my favorite recipes to do in a Cooking Matters class. And what I love about it is incorporating extra vegetables into the recipe that I normally wouldn't associate with tacos. I love that we work on using herbs and spices instead of sodium to flavor our food up. And I'm telling you, it's pretty tasty. And then I also love that we incorporate whole grains. As always, I'm a big whole grain fan. So having a whole grain is extra fun for me. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, so this is a really great recipe to incorporate a lot of fruits, vegetables, protein, and whole grains that Sajwa has mentioned. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with the recipe. You'll notice I have my chef's view camera here. This is so you can see what I'm doing. So I've already have my hand.
We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Jordan, would you mind repeating what you just said there? We had a little cutout.
Yeah, so the first thing that we always do before we get started cooking is washing our hands. 20 seconds, getting all of the surfaces and making sure we're washing our hands really good. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is to go ahead and sanitize your countertops, making sure those are nice and clean as well. And also rinsing your vegetables, making sure that everything that you're using is rinsed off. We don't want any of that dirt in our food. So for time's sake, I've actually already done a lot of these steps. I have also already rinsed the top of my cans as well. So I'll go ahead
This
and
whole thing that you just did here is just a recap from last week's video for all of you guys that were there, is what we call mise en place. Jordan likes to say, my mess in place. So again, remember to do your mise en place when you're getting ready to do a recipe like this or any. It really makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, so you'll see I have all of my ingredients already out, all of the utensils. So today we'll need a knife, cutting board, a box grater if you have one, oil, and then of course a frying pan. We are going to be using turkey today for our protein. So the first step says to rinse, peel, and grate the carrot, sweet potato, or zucchini. So this recipe is very versatile. We're going to be using carrot today, but you can use sweet potato, you can use zucchini. It does have a note. If you are using zucchini, great, but do not peel. You can squeeze everything dry with a paper towel. So,
you know, one of the other people from a Cooking Matters class mentioned that they used cauliflower in this recipe, and it came out really good. So that's something to consider too as you're adding extra vegetables into your taco recipe.
Yes, I've never tried that before, but it does sound really good. So if you want to try an experiment, this is something that we're going to add into the meat. So this is a really great tip. I actually do it with other two, stirring it into the meat. With our tacos, you add a little bit more fiber and you're getting some vegetables in there. I've also done it with pastas as well. So you can add a little bit of carrot or zucchini to your pasta recipe. So I've already rinsed my carrot. You can use a box grater if you have one. Sometimes I don't like using these because I'm always nervous about scraping my knuckles against the box grater. So these make me a little nervous. Another thing you can use is actually a peeler, and then just peel the carrot like so into small pieces like this. And this is something maybe an older kid can help you with as well. I am going to use the box grater today. So we're just going to go ahead and make really quickly some grated carrot to add in. Again, being mindful of not scraping your fingers against the box grater here. Now you can actually peel the carrot if you want to. I actually don't like to peel my carrots. It takes off a little bit of the fiber and the nutrients, so you might as well use it all is what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it all. And we do already have some carrots already done here off to the side. This is what it'll look like when you're all done. And then we have some just freshly grated right over here.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
It turns into this nice, beautiful grated carrot. So, and then these scraps again, if you need broth. So what you can do is you can actually just take like the tops of the carrots here and throw it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer when everything is
Oh, Jordan, it seems like we're having a little bit of another issue with the technology here. I mean, the internet these days are really backed up, but I heard you saying that we would be using our carrots and putting them into a bag.
Yeah, so we would be using that for a broth. So carrot tops and garlic peels, onion peels, you can use that actually for broth. So, all right, so we have that done. The second step is to rinse and shred your lettuce, rinse and core the tomatoes as well. So I've already went ahead and done some of these steps. I have some shredded lettuce here. I am actually going to show you really quick how to core your lettuce. So usually you buy a big lettuce head like this. And I've already done a few steps, so I've taken this off. This has already been rinsed, but you see this core down here at the bottom. What you can actually do when you first buy these is you can actually slam this down on your countertops to core your lettuce. And what that will do is it'll remove this part for you, and it'll take some of the work and the cutting out of it. So that's just a nice tip that I've learned actually from Cooking Matters.
Well, that's lovely.
classes. So
I think that another great thing to do when you're using lettuce and things like that in something like a taco or even a salad or something would be including some dark leafy greens. So something like a spinach might be nice if you want to take a venture on the wild side, maybe even a little kale, and kind of mixing that in with the lettuce to help out with that. It's a great way to add extra nutrients, get extra vitamins in, and I think adds more color to my tacos. And so we're a big fan of eating the rainbow here at Cooking Matters. So just keep that in mind if you want to add extra colors or more hues. That makes a difference.
great tip. So we went ahead and we took some of the lettuce off of that head of lettuce. And what I did is I actually just rolled it up here. And then I am just slicing down. So just a quick review from last week, we actually pinch our blade and wrap our hands around. This is just the proper way to hold your knife. So I'm trying to practice that right now. And then we just went ahead and we're slicing down. You do not have to cut your lettuce. You can actually just rip it to pieces if that's what you prefer. I just like. Finally, you're going to go ahead and cut up your tomato. Tomatoes, they tend to be a little bit firmer and a little bit actually more reasonable. But when I'm cutting a tomato, I actually like to use a serrated knife. So that just means that there's these little teeth on your knife here. You'll see on my chef's knife, it doesn't have that serrated edge. I like to use a serrated knife on tomatoes just because it seems to cut a little bit easier. If you're using a chef's knife or more likely a dull chef's knife, it doesn't cut as nicely. This one's actually just been sharpened, so it's working pretty well. But
I love that idea.
Yeah, so this is something nice to try. Try them both, see what you like more. This is what I prefer. So I just went ahead and made the tomato into slices. If you'd like, you can remove the core. This is just a little bit denser, but I am all about using all of the tomato, all of the produce that I have. So I'm going to just cut it all up. So we just made this into an kind of a large dice. And these will go ahead and actually be toppings for our tacos today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at the comments section here and seeing some people are saying, not a kale fan, but willing to try spinach in there. Someone else suggested cabbage as being an option that you can add into a topping for your tacos. I'm seeing cilantro as an option or using a squeeze of lime. I think those are all excellent choices and great ways to really spice up your tacos and change them up, because I'm a Taco Tuesday girl every Tuesday. So I don't want to get bored with my recipe.
Those are really good tips. I will have to try the lime next time. That sounds really good. All right. So our step 3 actually says to grate the cheese. Now our cheese that we have purchased today is actually already grated. I just want to remind everyone that when you buy pre-grated cheese, you are paying for somebody else to do the work for you. So typically, if you look in the store and you buy the block of cheese, it can sometimes be a little bit cheaper, and that's because that work has not already been done. Same thing with, like, you'll notice that lettuce in the bag tends to be a little more expensive than that big head of lettuce. So in the next on step 4, in a colander, we're going to rinse and drain our beans. So we are going to be using some black beans today, and I've actually already rinsed and drained these. You can use pinto beans or even a navy bean if you'd like.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason why we like to rinse
beans is fine.
Sorry, having a little bit of connection issue again. Oh, you guys, we appreciate you working with us as we go through our internet issues right now. But Jordan, it sounds like you were talking about rinsing off the beans and the benefits of that.
Yeah, so we actually are using a low sodium option. You can see on my can here in the chef's view. It does say low sodium. This just means they didn't add any more salt to our beans today, but I still did go ahead and rinse them just to remove a little bit more of that salt off of my beans. If you do have a full sodium bean, you can still use those, of course. Just go ahead and rinse that off as well. So that is still a great option. We're going to be adding the beans to our taco meat. This is a really great way to not only add more protein from the beans, but we're also going to be kind of lengthening our meat. So we're adding more product in, and it just kind of expands or like adds more to our meat. So let's see here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to start browning our turkey. So I'm just going to go ahead. We are using a nice lean meat today. We're using a ground turkey, and this is one I had on hand. This is actually a 3-pound that I had in my freezer, but we're just using a 1-pound turkey today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started at browning my meat.
And so while Jordan's browning her meat, I really quickly want to talk about the benefits of using a lean protein like turkey versus a beef. What we like to use lean proteins here with Cooking Matters just because it's a lot less fat. And honestly, with something like ground turkey, it's hard to tell the difference once you add in the spices and all the different bells and whistles. It's hard to tell the difference between the turkey and the beef. So that's a really easy way that you can lower the amount of fat in your recipe. Maybe if you're doing a chili, try turkey, or other lean meats like chicken. Let's see, fish would be a good option. Those are all things we like to promote as ways to have less fat.
All right. So I just added a pound of ground turkey to my pan here. And the recipe actually does say to add a little bit of oil to your pan. Sorry, I'm blocking your view here. So I just went ahead and added the turkey in. You can use beef with this recipe as well. Turkey, like Sandra was mentioning, is just a leaner meat, and it's really a nice healthy option. So we're just gonna go ahead and let this brown.
And while she's browning that, let's talk about how this recipe differs from other fast food options. And if you guys want to go ahead and comment in the chat about your thoughts and ideas on this question, I'd be happy to share some of those in this video. I know for me personally, this recipe is a really great option instead of going somewhere like a Taco Bell, for example, or any other fast food place to get a taco. I have control over the amount of sodium I'm putting in there. I have control over the different flavor profiles that I want to go in that direction. I get to add things like cabbage and kale and spinach and all those different variety of vegetables. And as we alluded to already, we will be using a whole grain tortilla option. So again, we're getting our whole grains, and it's a great way of making sure that thanks, Jordan. It's a great way to make sure that you're hitting all of the different components of my plate. So again, that's going to be our protein, which we're getting from our turkey, a lean meat, and then the beans. We're going to have a little bit of cheese to make that dairy. We're going to have things like lettuce, tomatoes, all of that would be our vegetable. We have our grains from our tortilla. And the only thing we're missing is fruit, but technically tomatoes are a fruit. So I'm counting that we got the whole my plate. But even if you're not like me and you don't feel like tomatoes are a fruit, you could add something on the side with this. So maybe like an apple or, some other types of fruits that you like. Oranges, I love pineapples and mangoes. So those are all great ways to make sure that you're completing your my plate and hitting all of those targets in your meal.
Yes. So our meat is slowly browning here. I just wanted to mention this meat, like have been saying, it's a really lean meat, but you may notice, especially if you're using beef. So like for instance, like an 80-20, which is the percentages that you'll see on the front of your meat. There's going to be a lot of fat rendering off of that while it's cooking. So you might notice a lot of moisture. You can actually drain that out. And actually some people once your meat is completely brown, what you can do is actually rinse off your meat. Mm-hmm. Just be, of course, mindful about food safety issues, but that just removes a little bit of fat from your meat as well. So we are almost done browning our beef here. Excuse me.
Thanks for that, Jordan. That's a really great tip as far as, again, that fat and choosing lean options and understanding how to choose those options. Thank you for sharing that. I'm seeing here in the chat, someone mentioned, and I think this is an awesome idea going along with the cauliflower, sweet potatoes. I think that would be awesome in this recipe, right?
Definitely.
I'm
That
also
recipe actually
seeing,
does suggest that as well. Sweet potatoes would be a really great kind of fun option to add.
right? I'm also seeing someone commented saying that lime technically a fruit, you know what I mean? If we would have added that. So that was a really great catch. And again, it's watermelon season. Someone commented that. Cut into that watermelon and there you go. So with a recipe like this, I think that it would be great to encourage your children getting into the kitchen and helping you cook out. I mean, helping you cook. Cooking in right now. So I just want to really quickly talk about some ways that we can engage our children in the kitchen with the recipe like this. We could have them use the measuring cups to measure out seasonings depending on the age, measuring out the water. For kids that are like 2 and younger, maybe naming the colors that they're seeing or having small taste tests to get them acclimated to the food. Sometimes it can be a bit scary trying new vegetables and things when you're young. For someone who's like about 3 years old, they can be rinsing off our produce or breaking foods, picking maybe things off the stem. So maybe working with that lettuce would be a good option. Arranging foods on the plate, helping you assemble. Another great idea would be for a 4-year-old measuring ingredients, squeezing juice from fruit. So that lime, we could be having your 4-year-old help you out with that. 5-year-old, something like grating the cheese or maybe grating that carrot that Jordan did earlier. That would be a great way to incorporate your children into this recipe. So Jordan, I am really hungry and looking forward to seeing how this looks. I love tacos.
So we're getting close to the end here. You may have noticed I have actually added here is our browned turkey. Yes. I added our carrots and our beans in there. And then the next thing I'm gonna add just really quick, this recipe actually add some diced tomatoes. So I have opened my can already, so can't exactly tip it. Sodium, option on my diced tomatoes as well. So we're gonna go ahead and add that into our mixture as well.
Now, for this recipe, I know maybe we haven't gotten there yet, but I know you guys who may be following along with the recipe that we have. If you're looking at the Cooking Matters national recipe that we sent out, there's a little bit of a variance between what we do here in Minnesota. Here in Minnesota, we're actually gonna be adding some cumin into the recipe. So just keep that in mind and make a note of that if you're following along with the national recipe. That's the only discrepancy there. So keep that in mind.
So next we are going to actually go ahead and add that. So great segue. Thank you, Sajwa.
I was right on cue.
We are going to be adding right on cue. So we're going to go ahead and add our spices. You're seeing in a chef view, I've already measured them out. So we've got a tablespoon of chili powder here, a teaspoon of, let's see here, we got garlic powder, and then a teaspoon of cumin is actually what we did add. So that's this brown spice over here. And then we've got salt, pepper, and then oregano is what we're adding. Cumin is a really great addition to this recipe. So if you have it, I would encourage you to use it.
Yeah.
This is actually a really great way to spice your food. And then you're not getting, I know a lot of people use the spice packets for tacos to season their meat. That does have a lot of salt in it. So this is a really great way to season your food without all the sodium. So
yep. I love the way that you arranged your mise en place there with your spices so that you can go ahead and add it right in, right on time. It looks so beautiful. Just one really quick note, I am a spicy girl myself, so I love to add just a little bit of cayenne in there to ramp things up and kick it up. So if you like spice, you can add a little bit of that, or maybe black pepper if you're not feeling that intense. So those are all great options to add into your turkey tacos and really amp up the flavor.
All right. It's smelling good over here.
Still got some cooked time there, Jordan.
Too. Now you can let this, yeah, so let's see here. This is actually pretty cooked pretty well. We've got all of our spices and everything added. This is what it's going to look like. Now you can let this cook down a little bit further if you'd like. So I don't mind the way it is right now. Everything's cooked through, so I'm gonna go ahead and start building my taco. Now you'll see in our meat, I just love to point out all of those beautiful colors that are in there right now. We've got orange, red, and then the beautiful beans. Just really a lot going on there.
That's lovely. And that's way more color than you would see in a normal taco recipe if you were just to use your meat. So again, adding those beans in there for that extra fiber, those extra vitamins. We're using a low sodium tomato option. This is my tomato sauce, but we're using diced tomatoes in there. Those are all great things to add. Again, we're watching our sodium. We're using seasonings to spice it up. And we're eating a rainbow. It's wonderful. It looks lovely, Jordan.
Our recipe today, our serving size, that's just something that we like to point out at Cooking Matters, the portion size. So all of our recipes typically do come with nutrition facts. Just down here at the bottom, you'll see our nutrition facts. And you'll see the serving size is actually 2 tacos. So I'm just going to go ahead and build a taco like they're suggesting. So.
And while Jordan's building her tacos, I just want to let you guys know again with the serving size, it's really important that you're watching that when you're eating things, choosing things, going out to eat, reading the label, because if the serving size is for 2 tacos and you eat 3 or 4 of them, you're going to have to double that recipe. If you ate 4, you would have to double the recipe and double the nutrition facts label. Don't double the recipe. Double the nutrition facts label information that you're reading so you can get a more accurate reflection of what you're actually intaking. So for example, if sodium says it's 15 for 2 tacos, if you eat 4 tacos, you're not getting 15 milligrams. You're going to be getting 30. So keep that in mind. And it's a little bit of math involved, but you know what? It's very much worth it so you can stay a little bit more accurate to what you're putting into your body.
Yeah. All right. So we're just about done building our taco. I've added some grated cheese, some of our lettuce here. And last but not least, our fresh tomatoes. All right. And we have got some beautiful tacos. So we can actually top this with, I really enjoy sour cream on my tacos, but a more healthy or a healthier option would actually be using a plain yogurt instead of typically has a little bit more protein, a lot less calories. So that's a really great option. I would encourage you to try it just once. If you have kids, don't tell them what it is.
Yes, all the time. I have done that in the class.
Yep.
I don't tell them what it is, and they're like, "Oh, I would never." And then I'm like, "Hey, you use some plain yogurt, and it tastes the same." It's such a fun trick.
Really is. Yep. A lot of my participants don't usually notice. So really great addition. But this is what the tacos will look like all said and done. They're really beautiful tacos. And you, like Saja was mentioning, we're eating from all of our food groups. So these are a really nice option for your weekday Taco Tuesdays. So that is Cooking Matters Turkey Tacos. Thank you so much for cooking with us today. Cooking with me today. So
everyone, we really appreciate you joining us today for Cooking Connected and our turkey taco recipe. We hope you try some of the different changes that we made, adding the cumin, maybe using something like spinach or cabbage in your toppings, trying more herbs and seasonings instead of sodium. All of those things are really great ways to ramp up your turkey tacos. The Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, that's a fun one. So we would like to invite you guys again to go ahead and complete the survey, which is linked in the comments of this video. Actually, if you look at the comments, and again, I have the program code for you. Let me make sure that you can see this guy. There we go. So our program code again today for this episode of Cooking Connected, the turkey tacos, is going to be E096717. And we really appreciate the feedback that you guys give us back on material that we're putting out right now. It's very, very helpful. I also want to invite you guys to comment below this video on the next recipe you want to see. And we'd give you another shout out, just like we did Lisa this week. So thank you again, Lisa, for this recipe. It turned out amazing. We look forward to next week in your comments. And thank you for joining us for Cooking Connected, everyone.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.